The FIFA Club World Cup kicks off this weekend here in America, and am I excited about it? Not really. I'll be completely honest. I'm just not. And will I still be watching it? Yes, of course, because I love the sport, so I'm going to be watching it, and many of those European teams are there. I watch every week, every weekend during the season. But am I excited, truly excited about this tournament? I'm not. If anything, it kind of just makes me angry. Look, before this rendition of what they're trying to do with the tournament and trying to make it just a club version of the World Cup, you had the ceremonial Club World Cup at the end of every calendar year. In December, the team that won the Champions League and then all the continental tournaments in each continent would go to some country and play a Club World Cup. It was simple. The European team almost always won. They only had to play 2 games because they were automatically qualified to the semifinal. 2 games, then they win. Boom, easy. Would that give a huge unfair advantage to the European team? And I think usually it was the South American team as well. Of course it did. But it was simple. It was slight. It didn't affect the season too much, the European season too much. And you got to crown a winner. You got to get a little badge on your shirt. It was nice. You know, if you're Real Madrid, for instance, you have the badge consistently on you. If you're Man City, you got lucky to have the badge on you for 2 years. But this rendition of the Club World Cup was basically saying, that Club World Cup that we had was pointless. It was very pointless. So what we're going to do is we're going to add it to a summer. And this is the thing that bothers me so much about FIFA. Every way they can, they try to find a new way to extrapolate as much money as they possibly can. Which I get it, is the foundation of capitalism. We understand. But from having the World Cup in Russia to moving the World Cup from the summer, from the Northern Hemisphere summer to November and December because you want to host it in Qatar, to having the World Cup in 2034 be in Saudi Arabia, to, I know this isn't FIFA, but UEFA increasing the Champions League, changing the format completely so that you can have more high quality games so you can boost viewership, to the Nations League where you don't add more games necessarily, but what you do is that you make it so that certain games that happen during the season are worth more and are valued more, and you can end it with a trophy. Just trying to find ways to boost income, and I understand that's what you should do as a corporation. But think about the players for a little bit. Think about what they're doing. I just read up online, Jude Bellingham, right, who is still 21, not turned 22 yet. He has already played 314 senior matches in his career. The guy who he's compared a lot to, Zinedine Zidane, in his entire career. And he played into his mid-30s. He played the 2006 World Cup. He played 803 in his entire career. Jude Bellingham will likely pass that by the time he's 27. Because he just played so many matches. I saw a report at the beginning of last season, because in 23-24, Real Madrid won everything, so they qualified for a bunch of additional tournaments. And if they had made it to the final or the last game of every single tournament, they could have played as many as 72 matches last season, including the World Cup, including the Club World Cup, so this entire season. So if they had made it, obviously they got eliminated early in Champions League, but played all their La Liga games, made it to the final of the Copa del Rey, which they did, made it to the final of the Super Cup, which they did, made it to the final of the Champions League, made it to the final of the Club World Cup, Super Cup, so, Spanish, so all of those competitions, because there was 7 competitions, and the Intercontinental Cup, that 1 game off thing that they had where they did win the trophy. 72 matches. That is as many as basketball players that you're asking these football players to play. A lot of basketball players don't even play 72 games nowadays because of, how crazy things are. What you're demanding of these players is far too much, and I fear for them because they may wilt. But let's go back to Jude Bellingham. Now, Bellingham has already admitted that he's going to get shoulder surgery the minute that the Club World Cup is over, and that's going to take him at least 12 weeks to recover from. In a normal year, where it's okay, this is not a Euros year, this is not a World Cup year, this is just a regular summer where I can take that time off, he would have gotten the surgery, been back to start the Real Madrid season. But because of the Club World Cup, he has to delay that surgery, and he will miss the beginning of Real Madrid's La Liga season. He was already not going to play in the preseason anyway, because, players like him usually don't. But now that's what you're asking him to do. You're asking, you know what, you don't get that recovery time. You're going to play another tournament. And I get it. FIFA will make more money. But if you're a fan of one of these teams and your guy gets injured playing a tournament like that, you're going to be pissed off. See, one thing in football that we all know is that not all the tournaments have the same amount of value. Winning a Carabao Cup or Copa del Rey is not the same as winning the league. And even above that, you would probably say is winning the Champions League. And above that, obviously, is winning the Euros. And the pinnacle is the World Cup. These tournaments have levels. So if somebody sacrifices themselves and injures themselves brutally in a Club World Cup, if you're a fan of that team, you're going to be pissed. Why? It's just a Club World Cup. And now you're going to be injured for the league, which you really care about, for the Champions League, which you truly care about, and if you're the country I support as well, for the World Cup or for the Euros. That's going to be a huge deal, and it's going to make me mad. So why is the FIFA Club World Cup happening? Why does FIFA try to find new ways every instant to extrapolate as much money as they can without caring about the players? See, the one issue that FIFA has that American sports don't have is American sports are all one league. They're all one league. You only compete for one trophy each year. It's kind of, maybe sometimes it's not as exciting, but it's very much forthright. And all those leagues have a salary cap with the exception of baseball, but even they have salary regulations. They have a salary cap, and they all have a players association, a players union. So where if you disagree or have to argue with something, you can fight against it or you can fight for it. That's how the NBA not too long ago was able to negotiate, okay, if you want us to play all 82 games, let's add an extra week into the season so you can spread those games out a little bit more, reduce the amount of back-to-backs, the amount of 4 games in 5 nights. Perfect. Or, the play-in, for instance, which is another way the NBA added more games. But now the teams who did really well, the top 6 teams in each conference, get a week off before the playoffs. That's great. You get some stuff. You get some perks, and they obviously make an insane amount of money now because they've been fighting for player empowerment. Even the NFL, you added a 17th game, but you took away a preseason game. Okay. Not too bad. And then you delay the start of the Super Bowl. So even though we're playing an extra game, obviously we're going to make more money, but we don't play as many preparation matches. Every league in football is different. All of them are different, and that is partly what makes them special. But I'm not just talking about from a style of play perspective. I'm talking about the rules that govern them. We just saw that today that Trent Alexander-Arnold got introduced as a Real Madrid player, and he will be playing in the Club World Cup. But he couldn't wear number 66. La Liga does not allow him to wear 66 unless he's a second-team player. If you are a first-team player, you're not allowed to have a number that high. So he had to go with 12. And it's like, that just doesn't feel right because that's Marcelo's number. It's still Marcelo's number. Eventually, someone will wear it again. But so recently after he retired and somebody else has it, it does feel a little bit odd because I know for a fact Trent didn't want that number. He wanted 66, but they made him wear something else. Anyways, I'm getting off track. Because of that, players in Europe don't have the same ability to fight for what they truly want. How many of these players do you think really want to play in this Club World Cup? How many? Ask them that question. Here's the thing. If I'm representing my country, England, France, Spain, Portugal, and I get injured in the World Cup or the Euros or the Copa America, and it maybe, inhibits my chances to play at the beginning of my club season, I'm okay with that. But how angry would I be if I got injured in the Club World Cup and I couldn't play in the more important club competitions later on in the future? I would be very angry, extremely annoyed. And this is what FIFA is doing. And it bothers me so much because I feel for these players and I want them to experience things the best way possible. How many careers are going to be shortened now because of this? Do you know part of the reason why I believe Saudi Arabia is going to be able to take more and more and more players? Because a lot of these guys understand that football is a short career, which it always has been. But with us playing an insane amount of games in Europe, why don't I just collect as much money as I can in Saudi Arabia? You're taking away the passion. You're now making it feel a little bit more like a job. And that doesn't even get to the fan aspect. See, with fans, the more matches you have, sure, the more total people may watch them, which makes you more money. But do you know why the NFL is so popular here in America? Do you know why you have so many die-hard fans who know everything, not just about their team, but every team in the league? Because it's such a short season. There's only 17 games, and that's a huge deal. Part of the reason why the NFL is successful is the brevity of it. So because of 17 games, I only watch it all day Sunday, Monday nights, and Thursday nights. Perfect. Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday off. I don't get sick of it. I'm entertained all the time. And when an NFL game is on, it's a spectacle. It's a buzz. I care about other teams that aren't my team just as much as I care about my team. But now with football, for instance, when the Champions League is on during the regular group stages, I can't watch every single game. So now I just watch highlights. And now that devalues the way that I entertain with games. So I don't know how well some players played in some other leagues. Because there's 8 games going on at once, I can truly only watch one. So you're going to turn the sport into a highlight reel. Either a highlight reel or a sport where everybody only roots and vies for one team. And that's the issue that baseball runs into. Because there's so many games in baseball, 162, there are a lot of diehard fans who know everything about their team and nothing about other teams. Absolutely nothing. How much do you think a Red Sox fan knows about what's going on with the Padres or the Dodgers or the Cardinals or some small market team? How much do they know? Nothing. As opposed to in the NFL, I can tell you every single team's starting quarterback. I can tell you their best skill position player, probably their running back, and probably their defensive players and their coach as well. I can't do that in baseball. I can do it in basketball just because there's very few less people, only 5 players on the court at once. But the brevity of a sport is what makes it as diehard as it could possibly be. That's what makes fans as entertained into it as they can possibly be. Fans will always be insane fans of their team. But fans being able to be fans of the sport as a whole, the more games you add, the more that will die. And the more people will be like, all right, I only focus on my team, and then I watch 2 or 3 matches that do not involve my team, and that's it. And that's the issue that FIFA's running across. They're finding new ways to get as much money as they possibly can from every single way. And I guarantee you it's making the players upset. I know they're making more money, but would they rather make more money now or elongate their career as much as they possibly can to make as much money as they can in the future? That's a question that they would have to answer. I don't know. Many players acted like they were very excited for the Club World Cup. I know a lot of Real Madrid players and Bayern Munich players and City players did. But are they really? I don't know. That's a question for them to answer. But these players playing all summer, basically getting no break. I understand the average person isn't going to feel sad for them because you get paid millions upon millions to kick a ball. But how many torn ACLs? How many, horrible injuries? How many careers could be cut short by an insane amount of games? How many players do not get to another contract, a second or third contract that they really want because they played so many games when they were young? I just don't think it's healthy. And I think FIFA has gone way too overboard with the Club World Cup. That is pushing it to the insane limit. And you just know, okay, 2024 is the Euros Copa America year. 2026 is a Club World Cup year, FIFA World Cup year. 2025 is a Club World Cup year. Are they going to add something for 2027? Because FIFA got rid of the Confederations Cup thing that they used to have. Are they going to add something? Some competition, some new competition that they're just going to add and say, this is our competition for these summers that aren't the World Cup, Club World Cup, Euros, Copa America summers. Are they? They probably will. And footballers will get no breaks, no rest whatsoever. And their likelihood to get injured increases, and the way that their careers can get shortened will only increase. So I feel for them. I guess it's a bit hypocritical because I'll still be watching it, but would I be okay if there was no competitive football for 3 months? Yes, because it would make me so much more excited for when it does come back in August. But hey, let's see what happens in the Club World Cup. I will be watching it, but I can't say I'm excited about it. I can't say that.